This is Finidi Nigerian, and here's my perspective. Please like and subscribe and press the notification button. You'll be glad you did. Well, about Finidi George appointment as the Super Eagles, obviously substantive coach now. He's now the head coach of the Super Eagles, and at my end, basically, I believe it's a deserved position. It is deserved. It is reasonable. I think it's a common sense thing that the NFF at the moment can do at this point in time, because one of the things that which a lot of the average fan do not particularly understand about dealing with the NFF situation is that, look, the NFF, whether anybody likes it or not, is saddled with the responsibility of handling the Super Eagles. So if the federal government, for example, goes against that, it is an obvious FIFA ban that could come from that. I'm trying to make a point here, please. So we must understand that because they are saddled with that responsibility, it's best to an extent to leave that responsibility for them. And even if you cannot leave it for them, and we want to make, as average fans, and want to make a bit of noises here and there to say, oh, this is something that we are not comfortable with, this is something we believe they should be doing differently. We cannot particularly dictate everything. So when it comes to the appointment of the Super Eagles, of Super Eagles coach, for example, as Finidi, I know for a fact that the majority, like 80% of the media, 80% of the media guys actually want Emmanuel Amunike. 80% of the media guys wanted Emmanuel Amunike, and the reason is simple, and not just the fans. I mean the media. Even the fans, because the media has been pushing the name of they pushed the name of Emmanuel Amunike more than they did Finidi. So it was, and one thing I discovered in all this is that a lot of them are basically use the emotion in judging this matter, and in judging it to an extent by saying, oh, Amunike had coached somewhere in Tanzania before, he had coached somewhere in Sudan before, he had coached somewhere in Zambia before, and all that. So basically, he has better experience and what have you. He's been a success at the youth stage, at the youth in terms of age group football, under 17s, and what have you. So a lot of people just wanted him. Yes, he has achieved a lot for Nigeria in terms of playing for Nigeria as well. He played in the 1994 World Cup. He played at the Nations Cup as well. He was a scorer at the final of the Nations Cup in 1994. So he's a big boy. And when we say he's a big boy in that aspect, he's a legend. Basically, he's a legend. He's an African Footballer of the Year. But once before, he has he achieved quite a lot, even in his own private playing football on his own. He was at Barcelona at some point. It was at Sporting Lisbon at some point. He was at Zamalek at some point. So he really did a lot. He played at the highest level. But you can also say that to an extent about Finidi George. Finidi may not have won African Footballer of the Year before, but one thing about Finidi is that Finidi didn't really put too much. He does not have too much media footprint like Amunike had. He does not have media mileage like Amunike had. So Amunike had the media mileage. Also, I can tell you this, Amunike also have the support of someone like this sports minister, so which is a very funny aspect of the whole thing. And because he had that support, they wanted just to probably bring him in, but it seems the NFF did not particularly want him. So I don't want to get too much into all that details. And the NFF, back to the NFF, they made a common sense decision. because Finidi had been with the team for close to 2 years, working with Pesario and what have you as an assistant coach. He has been around the team. They've seen him. The players know his face already. It's not like somebody who's totally detached or probably may want to bring a different system to the whole thing. So he has been there. And this is the Finidi George who came back to the Nigerian league because he at the moment is actually a pride for the MPFL. That's why I wonder why a lot of guys in the media, in the sports media, uh, are not in support of the guy. It baffles me because he worked with Enyimba. His first season with Enyimba, he didn't win. He didn't win the league. The second season with Enyimba, I think he won the league, which was last season. And this year again, they were on course of winning. At least they were on third position. It's about 6 games to the end of the league now. So this guy probably have a bit of a bit of experience here and there, and because he had a bit of experience, he can as well, with the Nigerian league, is that should encourage a lot of Nigerian coaches at least. But we can also say the guy was humble enough to say probably came back home and said, okay, let me go and coach in the league. He actually wanted to coach in the under 17. He actually bidded for trying to coach the under 17 at some point, but it didn't just that didn't just work out for him. And because he's a very quiet guy, he's good on the aspect of tact. When I say tact, I mean his communication and how he speaks. Tact is one of the things he's got. He's careful in talking. He's a different person, slightly a different person from Amunike. Amunike, not so great on tact. That aside, now with the FF, I remember seeing Amaju on Channels TV. He made a funny statement, and not just a funny statement. To go on such a public statement and make that statement about Emmanuel Amunike and Finidi George by saying Emmanuel Amunike is not so, he was alluding to the fact that you cannot particularly basically trust him in terms of players relations and all this agency, whatever. He mentioned that.
They are shortlisting coaches for the Super Eagles job. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I'm not I'm not an authority in this because I don't know. But what I know is that some coaches were shortlisted, some applied, and somebody asked me a question. If you were to subscribe to a local coach, and I corrected you right away that I don't believe in the word local. They're indigenous coaches, and that if I were to subscribe to anyone at the moment, because of the smooth transition from Pesario, I should say Finidi George. And I don't have any regrets about it. If it was Amunike that was there during this transition, I would have said Amunike because they have the same gift. They played the same level. They won the same tournament, But the difference between Amunike and Finidi is that Finidi as coach came down to Nigeria and coached a local club, one of our indigenous clubs, and he also won the league with this indigenous club. Finidi is somebody that I brought him on as one of the assistant coaches, and when he was interviewed, you could see the humility and modesty in him. And if you see controversy among some of his colleagues, you will never hear anything about Finidi being a player's agent, Finidi collecting money from this. No. He's somebody that is prime and really and truly wants to work.
Does this mean you're supporting Finidi George?
I say if they were to pick an indigenous coach right now, trust me, it is my strong personal opinion. I've worked with him, I've seen him. I believe I would definitely go for him. And what do we need to do? Is just basically to build capacity around him. Capacity, occasion, or spice by technology.
Amaju Pinnick mentioned that, and that's to say that on a very public forum, and to also kind of slightly talk up Finidi George in a way, and which I think makes a bit of sense. So the NFF might have their shortcomings, but there are things you just have to leave for them to do. And the technical committee is actually in charge of choosing this coach. And I guess they chose him. And besides, the NFL do not even have the money now. They don't even have the money to give, they're like not to even pay the foreign coach. So it's a common sense decision. This guy is probably going to get about 15 million naira a year. Finidi George will get around 50 million naira a year, is cool. Which is cool for a Nigerian. Obviously, it's cool. And I believe they will pay him. They will definitely pay him. I don't think they are going to owe him at any point in time. So that's that. But Finidi's performance. But let me also talk about Finidi's performance at Enyimba. Maybe it has not been so great or so super. Aside from winning the league, the type of tactical. I mean, the technical. In understanding he also probably brings to the game may have not been too open. But because he's going to coach the Super Eagles now, it's a different ball game. The Super Eagles, Enyimba is a collection of players that Enyimba could get from anywhere. Not all the best players in the league. But with the Super Eagles, is a collection of the best players Nigeria have out there. So it's a different thing. Let me give you an example. Every place that Peserio went to coach, Peserio did not particularly do well, especially national team jobs. He didn't particularly do well because the quality of the team he had in those places, whether it's Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, or where else did he go again? I think especially at those two places, he didn't particularly do so great. But he came to Nigeria and he did well. Yeah, so it is because of the type of collection of players that we have. So for Finidi George, I think these two will play out. Now he has a one year contract that he was given. I don't really think that's too small, because obviously in the next 1 year he would have played and made the qualification for any of the qualification I want to get in the next 1 year basically. And when he does that, which I think we can do because of the team we have, we can be encouraged to do that. He will most likely, even after that, get probably a 2-year deal more or whatever, that he can even take us to the Nations Cup and to the World Cup, which would be very, very nice for him. Keshi had done that before. Is the only Nigerian coach that took us out there before. This guy can also do it. Finidi George can do it. And if you ask somebody like me, we don't have to be pessimistic about the whole thing. I think I'm quite optimistic about it. There's even no crime in being optimistic about this thing, that he will do well. There's no crime in being optimistic about it. He can do well, and I believe he's going to do well. So as fans, whatever, let us just give the guy the support he needs, and hope that he will come to the table. And when you see him talk, and these guys somehow have a bit of a control of his emotions to an extent, so he can handle that thing. And he has played at the highest level of football as well. He has won the Champions League before. He played a lot of years in Spain. He played in Holland. He's not just your average footballer. It's not just your average footballer. So he knows one thing or two about how things work out there. And I believe he's going to do it. And with the guys he has brought in to say I should come and work with him. Somebody like Benjamin James, for example, must have been doing something well and something good in Hoffenheim for Finidi George to bring in, because that guy had been with Hoffenheim for 10 years. Hoffenheim did not say he should go for 10 years. Probably he has been doing something good in that place. With Onyeke, who's the fitness coach that he has brought in as well. He's of Nigerian descent. I guess that's another cool one. Now, I may have reservations about the issue of Amakachi working with him. Amakachi may have not been coaching any team since 2017 that he coached last in Finland. But probably if you can work with this guy, well, at least he's an assistant coach. I think he will. They can work together. And I heard that they had a very good conversation, down to earth conversation, that which showed that okay, Amokachi is ready to say, okay, look, you are the boss. I mean, it's not like maybe he's ready. He's actually the way I think he is ready to work with Finidi George fully and said, you are the boss. Whatever you say goes, and whatever. So all that conny something that we used to talk about as Nigerians, I don't think that will really play much of a role in this situation. So they, I believe they are going to do well. We are playing South Africa and the Benin Republic next. Pray and I hope. Should I say that that we just win those games? When we win those games, look, Finidi George is going to become the darlings of Nigerians, obviously, especially if the team also plays very well. Just win the games, and obviously will become the darlings of Nigerians, basically. And nobody needs to look out for him failing, because he's failing is to the sadness of us all, and he's doing well. He's to the betterment of us all. And for the NFF, I think they did something encouraging, because look, the NFF knew what they lost in 2020. In 20, we didn't go to the World Cup in the last time in 2020. Really, okay, was that 2020? Okay, no, this is, we're having another 2026 for 2022. So we didn't go to the World Cup for 2022. We must understand something. The NFF knew what they lost in terms of resources and in terms of income that they should have gotten from all that. Because of what they lost, I think they for them to now stake this whole qualification on a Finidi George, a supposedly Nigerian coach, I think it's something encouraging that they did. And I believe it is because they too believe in him that the guy can do well, that he can pull this off. So they are staking the whole thing on him in a way. And I believe he's going to do well. And when he does well, look, even if he does not do well, football can be a wicked old game. Let's imagine that. Let's think about that. Stuff happens, shit happens, like they say. But the main thing is that he's basically condemned to do well, and he has resources to do well. So I believe Finidi George is going to do well on this. This is Sahid, the Nigerian, and this is my opinion on the Finidi George appointments as the Super Eagles coach of Nigeria. And like I said earlier, I believe he's going to do well, and he will definitely do well in this case. So let's just pray for the guy and also support him. So I'm Saeed in Nigeria, and that's my perspective.